Well, welcome into a special edition of kind of a Broncos Brawl briefly, kind of a little bit of Titans Brawl. We are doing our first ever crossover podcast here. It's kind of a miniature podcast. I don't know if we're going to be going the whole links here, but definitely going to be previewing a great one scheduled for Monday night, a part of the Monday Night Football doubleheader. Denver Broncos host the Tennessee Titans is the Week 1 matchup, and it is slated for 9:20 p.m. Central Time. It's 8:20 Mountain Time. Actually 8:10 Mountain Time. Great matchup coming up. We got a lot to get into. We're going to break down key pieces. I don't know if we're going to do game picks because it might be a little subjective, but we're going to definitely evaluate this game as objective as possible and kind of give, pieces from both sides, which ones are, who needs to step up, what needs to happen in order for these teams to claim the W. We got a lot of conversation to get into, but before we do that, let's go ahead and introduce the people I got on screen with me. So as I'm going down here to get into the introductions, first and foremost, guys, football is back. How are we feeling? Jazzed. Yeah, exactly. The word football just gets me. Chills, goosebumps. Yes. I'm so hyped.
I feel like a drug addict finally getting a fix. I know that's probably not a good thing to say on air, but that's exactly how I feel.
In its own way, it is a fix. It's so great to have football back. I mean, we've been through a pandemic. We've pretty much been through hell and back in 2020, a great litmus test for everybody. And now we finally get some peace and in the form of football, the greatest damn sport on the planet. Football's back. That's all I got to say. All right.
Yes.
With that being said, let me introduce these guys. Let me give them a fair introduction, a good introduction. First and foremost, you've seen his friendly face on almost every single video recording we do with Broncos Brawl briefly. He is a contributor to all the articles, beat writer for the BrawlNetwork.com here at Broncos Brawl. You make sure you go check out his content. You can find him and follow him at Noah Smith 735. He is the Noah Smith. Noah, happy Saturday, man. One day, one sleep closer to some football, as we alluded to. How you doing?
Dude, I'm doing well. And I'm so sad that the NFL season had to start with the Chiefs playing, especially with the Chiefs win. But I'm glad it's back, man. I can't wait for the Broncos to play on Monday.
Look, aside from both of us, I feel like there's one person in this podcast, and I could be wrong, that was pulling for a Texans loss. And I think we're both staring right at her. So she is a special guest here on Broncos Brawl, or maybe we're the special guests on Titans Brawl. Either way you look at it, you can follow her at Anna_Lewis35, Anna_Lewis35 on Twitter. She is one of the co-hosts and contributors to the Titans Brawl. She is the Anna Lewis in the flesh. Anna, how is your Saturday? And I'm sure your Thursday was good. Well, your Friday was good too.
So Thursday I was conflicted. I'm going to be real. I was just like, I want them to tie. Like, I just want them both to lose and we can move on. Like that, I couldn't win because I'm spiteful and I don't want the Chiefs to be great. But I tell you what, they looked good. They looked really, really good. That's terrifying. So I could not think of a defense in the league that could stop the way they looked on Thursday night. And that's horrible. I don't even know if the Titans can, guys. So
Woo! Them's is fighting words. Now I'm going to say, look,
I know
the Texans are a project within themselves. Let's just be honest.
Sure.
The defense did not even look remotely good. And then, of course, DeAndre Hopkins, basically the entire offense is gone. He's in Arizona. And you saw his happiness and joy via Twitter as he tweeted out after the conclusion of that game. But you know what? Hey, man, sorry the Texans had to take one for the entire rest of the 30 teams, I should say.
Right.
But I guess for your division's sake, that's pretty good. I mean, they started out at 1, so.
I will say I think some Titans fans got a little boost of confidence after seeing that game. They're like, are we going to sweep the AFC South? I'm like, guys, calm down. Like, don't go with that expectation. Be happy if it happens.
Texans got a long road ahead of them. They got the Steelers. They got the Ravens next weekend. I've completely forgot about Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, so hard. Their first 4 games are so hard. So I feel bad for them, but not really. So
send prayers out to the Houston Texans fan base right now. All right. Well, we could talk Texans and Chiefs all day, but we've really got a conversation to get into, and that surrounds our Monday night game in week 1. I look forward to it. I know Anna looks forward to it. I know Noah looks forward to it. And everybody here in spirit, Andy and Alex, they were going to be joining in. They might still join in. I know that they're excited too. But we got a story kind of that just unfolded last night, and we're going to start with the Titans. Anna, you've got the best perspective on this one. Your starting offensive tackle, Isaiah Wilson, was arrested for a DUI last night in the Nashville area, if I'm not mistaken. And if I go back over here to the report, I got it pulled up in my notes. I believe it was Wilson had registered a .107 and 113 breath alcohol concentration on 2 breathalyzer tests, both over the state's legal BAC limit of .08. He was bounded out of jail at 1:28 a.m. local time, Nashville time, less than an hour after being booked. And yeah, this isn't the first time he's had to run in with the law. What can you take from this?
So before I dive into how frustrated I am, I just wonder who he called. Like, who did he call to bail him out of jail? Was it Coach Vrabel? You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine? Hey, Coach. No. But no, this has been a really frustrating road with Isaiah Wilson. So he has tested positive for COVID twice since he's been here. I mean, he's been in town for a month and a half, and he's already had COVID twice. He's going and partying over at Tennessee State University, which I have to say they have some great parties, and I can't blame him. But, like, you're a grown man now, and you have a job, and you need to take care of that job, and right now he's not. So he is on the COVID list right now. I don't know if you guys saw the NFL report, but there was one player, and it was Isaiah Wilson. So not only is he not quarantining, but then he got drunk and went and got a DUI. So it's not good. It's not a good start. It's not a good look. I just wonder, if it wasn't 2020 and if it wasn't for all this stuff that's going on, if he would have had a different entry into the league. I think after all of this, that it might be time to consider cutting him. And that sucks. But I don't know if I shared this with you, Noah, but I coached football for 2 years. And when you have a problem player like that, it impacts the locker room so much. And you've got to do what's best for the entire team. And the Titans locker room culture is so vitally important. That's their selling point. That's how we get new fans. It's like the Titans rally around each other, and they're like a big fan. I know every football team is like that to an extent, but I've never seen an organization handle it the way Tennessee does. So either Taylor Lewan and some of those veterans are going to have to really maybe beat the crap out of him, and I'm not advocating for that. Maybe I am. It's questionable. Do what you will with that information. But I think they've got to have some tough conversations, and I think they're going to, and they probably already are, or they're going to have to let him go. And if they don't let him go, he has one more chance, in my opinion. Because the Titans fan base is unforgiving with stuff like this. And they're not going to get behind him no matter how talented he is. And we don't even know what he looks like on a professional stage. So I know what he looked like at Georgia because I watched him and I was like, oh, I like this guy. And he's huge, which is great.
150 pounds. He's a big boy.
I saw him. So I was telling the guys earlier that, I live very close to the practice facility, and I saw him at the gas station one day, and I was like, I'm 6'2". And I was just like, oh, he is massive. So he has all the potential in the world, but he's got to get his shit together. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss, but that's where I'm at.
You're fine. So the Titans had actually released a statement. They said, we're aware of the situation. Quote, they continued, this is not conduct that is indicative of the character of our football team, and we are working through details on how to proceed, end quote. So, yeah. And actually, we are getting, I believe, Byron is going to be joining us. We got Byron Chamberlain on there. Byron, how you doing, man? He's connecting his audio, but we're going to get him joined in. Good morning, man. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Doing well.
Good. And we got Byron in on the call. Guys, make sure you go follow him at BC_Chamberlain on Instagram and Twitter. Byron, we're in the middle of the conversation on the Tennessee Titans Of course, offensive tackle Isaiah Wilson was arrested this morning for a DUI. And we got Anna Lewis here with the Titans Brawl. She's kind of breaking down and reacting to this arrest and how significant it's going to play for the Tennessee Titans as you get into week 1 and they face off against the Denver Broncos. But I believe, amidst basically just reading off the statement from the team with the Tennessee Titans and kind of where this puts the Titans right now. Anna, I do want to go back to you real quick, talking about the competition at that tackle spot. So who's going to be the next man up? Who's going to be stepping up for Isaiah Wilson?
I think they're moving it around. And hey, Byron, what's up? Nice to meet you.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. How are you? I think Dennis Kelly is going to move over to that position. I honestly, it was still on the fence on whether Isaiah Wilson was going to start or not. So I think it's going to be okay. Obviously, like, we lost Jack Conklin this year. So that was a big loss to our offensive line. But they've had injuries and they've had conduct issues with Taylor Lewan and stuff like that. So that offensive line is used to adapting and moving around, and I think we'll be all right. But I know for you, Keegan, you were saying that Isaiah Wilson was an impact player for the Denver Broncos going up against that in a pass rush situation. So I'll bounce it back to you, see what you think.
Yeah, and so with that, we do get right into the conversation, and boys, enter the Denver Broncos. So they come into this, and we're not far behind from you. We got a linebacking core that is basically on crutches right now. Von Miller, of course, basically, dislocating tearing a tendon, not even dislocating, tearing a tendon in his ankle, and he's out. He had surgery, and the timetable for that is just so out of the question, but you're not going to be expecting him to come back anytime soon. So stepping up in his place, you have guys like Jeremiah Tachu, and then you also have Malik Reed, both. Jeremiah Tachu getting touted as, a guy that could potentially step up and be a starter anywhere else. And then Malik Reed is an undrafted guy out of Nevada from last year. And guys, this is where I turn it over to you. Noah, I'm going to start with you, my friend. Isaiah Wilson out. Does this give any glimmer of hope for our defensive side of the ball and how we might perform against this offense? What does this say? How does this help the Denver Broncos coming into Monday?
Yeah, man, I think the biggest thing you're losing with Von Miller, obviously you're losing the incredible leadership, but he was really, really good last year against the run. He's always been an excellent run defender, but most people know him for his pass rush, I think. Von is a fantastic run defender. And I think you see a lot of that in Malik Reed and Jeremiah Tachu as well. So I think the combination of those two, and hopefully as many snaps as Bradley Chubb is able to play on the other side, I think you will see – obviously you're going to take a step down when you lose Von Miller. That's just a given. But I'm really hoping, with Vic Fangio calling the shots on defense, that they'll come up with a good game plan to slow down that run game.
And Byron, I'm going to ask you the same, man. What are your expectations for, Bradley Chubb? Now you got Jarrell Casey. Thank you very much, Tennessee. And you got right, Jeremiah Tachu and Malik Reed. Expectations for this edge and linebacking corps coming into this week 1 matchup against the Titans.
Man, it's going to be tough. And you mentioned earlier, how our linebacking core is on crutches. I mean, it's really going to be tough. I think, one of the best things that, about the Tennessee Titans is their offensive line. Mm-hmm. And of course, Derrick Henry running downhill at you. And for, like you said, the leadership being gone, but just his physical presence on the field of Von Miller. I really believe that our defense may struggle stopping that run. I think it was going to be a tall task coming into this game. But I think we may just really struggle with stopping Derrick Henry and that offensive line.
Alex and I had actually talked about this, and Alex is one of the co-hosts of Broncos Brawl for all you watching this. Basically, we had talked about on last week's episode containing Derrick Henry, and we made our predictions on how this may go. With how bad and how depleted the linebacking corps for the Denver Broncos is going into this game. Oh, you're fine, man. Going into this game, we expect Derrick Henry to get his redemption. Third time's the charm. And as unfortunate, and as much as I don't want to say it, I think Derrick Henry finally, he wakes up. Well, he's got – I mean, you got an advantage here. If you're coming in, you're the Tennessee Titans from the outside looking in, you're seeing that this team is actually depleted. And like I alluded to, they are on crutches. So this you lose Todd Davis, you waive him. Justin Hollins is gone. Justin Sternad, we had a game plan for him. Didn't work out. He got a dislocated wrist. He's out for the season. I mean, like, just go down the list. You have – it's pretty much down to A.J. Johnson and Josie Jewell. And then you brought in Mark Barron for depth, and he's been hurt as of late. So the injury bug has been playing with our linebackers right now. So if I'm Derrick Henry, the prediction was he is going to rush for over 50 yards this time around. I got him going for 86 and a touchdown, but I think that offense is going to run through him literally for the Tennessee Titans. So basically getting into our next little thing, I wanted to go around and just kind of and I can start, or if one of you guys want to start, that's fine. I guess for this sake, I'll start. Basically going down key things you're watching in this game, key pieces, key elements that may be crucial in the long term for the Denver Broncos and or the Tennessee Titans to win this game. I'm going to go ahead and start, and I'm going to say A.J. Boye. Now, this guy played within the same the Jags played him twice a year, the Tennessee Titans. And last year, he got torched in Week 13 against A.J. Brown. That is going to be a matchup to watch for this game. Can A.J. Boye step up to the plate and can this secondary in general contain A.J. Brown's production? A.J. Brown, going back to that Week 13 matchup, had 135 yards. Actually outran A.J. Boye for a 65-yard trot to the end zone. So A.J. Boye wasn't good in the man coverage scheme, and now he goes into a zone scheme, which might be able to fit him a little bit better. So I think for me, it's going to be the battle of the AJs is going to be the thing to watch, because A.J. Brown is a dangerous receiver, especially when he gets past that second level. I think the Denver Broncos really have to pay attention to him. And not just him, Corey Davis, Adam Humphries, and especially at the tight end position. And I can't even think. Oh, my gosh. Refresh memory. Yes. There you go.
Smith. Yeah.
Any tight end comes in against our linebacking corps in the past years, I'm sorry, they've become a star. We can't perform against or defend the tight end. But basically receiving for you guys. And if you want to take it over.
Yeah, so that's interesting that you said the battle of the AJs, because I was thinking the same thing. I loved watching AJ Brown just murder the Jags in Week 13 last year. It was so fun. Like we were talking about before we started recording, guys, you know how I feel about the Jags and their fans and their organization. They're the ones that I just can't stand. So anytime that a player has an opportunity to just torch one of their guys, it's a lot of fun to watch. But I think Derrick Henry is a big factor here, because I do think he's the type of guy that he knows he has something to prove in this game. And last year, I think he went for 28 yards over 15 carries. It was really a poor production on his end. So I think with that paired with the fact that your linebacker core is on crutches, like you guys said, I think Derrick Henry is going to be one to watch. And then on the other side of the ball, I'm a big defensive girl. Like when I said I coached football, I was a defensive quality control coach. So that's my bread and butter. I am pumped to see Big Jeffrey Simmons coming down and making Drew Lock feel him a little bit. I think he's going to have a really big game. A lot of people, the conversation is around Jadeveon Clowney, which is great, and as it should be. He's a all-pro player, and I think he's going to fit really well in this scheme. And I was telling the guys at Titans Brawl, we had a show on Thursday just previewing this game, and you've got to reference 2017 for Clowney, because that's when he played under Mike Vrabel at Houston when he was the defensive coordinator, and that was his best year. So he's going into a scheme he's familiar with. He knows he's going to get to fly around. Listening to his interview with the press on Thursday was awesome. He sounds jazzed to be there. Sounds like we don't know if he's in football shape because we just haven't seen it yet. The conversation's heavily around him, but I think because of that, it's going to create opportunities for guys like Jeffrey Simmons going down the middle and off to the side. And I've watched him since he was a freshman at Mississippi State, and he's very versatile, and people don't realize that. So that's your guy to watch out for on the defensive side of the ball, in my opinion.
Noah, what say you, man?
And I'm really intrigued by the secondary for the Broncos, facing against those receivers and Tennessee. But I'm actually going to go with the defensive line for the Broncos. I think arguably this could be their strongest group on the defense with the injury to Von Miller. I think before you would say easily it's the outside linebackers. But now, I mean, you have three really solid starters with Draymond Jones, you got Shelby Harris, and we have the new addition, Jarrell Casey. So I think those guys, if one of them can get a double team or maybe two of them, I think that'll allow the linebackers to be able to shoot those gaps and maybe meet Derrick Henry in the backfield, which can kind of mitigate some of those the injuries to the linebackers.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And then there was one. Byron, what's the
what I'm going to be looking at, of course, is the passing game. And with the injury to Courtland Sutton, how does that affect Jerry Jeudy's role? Will he be thrust into the number one receiver position as a rookie in his first game? And how will he adjust to that? More being put on his plate, and just the familiarity and the comfortability with him and Drew Lock. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. And then what other receivers step up if Courtland Sutton's not available for this game on Monday? They say he's day to day, so we'll see what happens with that. So it's going to be important to see, which guys that we can lean on for the rest of the season. And this will be a huge test going against that Tennessee Titans defense, especially for a rookie receiver.
Definitely going to be a fun matchup to watch. And look, I was about to be like, okay, score predictions for this one, but I know it's about to be very subjective. But you know what? What the heck? It's
I want to hear them.
Brawl. I do want to hear it. I'm interested. I'll give you mine. I said this one on Wednesday. I think it's going to be a close game. Denver, strap in. Broncos country, strap in. It's going to be like last year. And Monday Night Football, it's going to be a thriller. I think it's going to be 24-21. And ironically, guess who gets the last laugh? Mr. Jarrell Casey. And you guys, it'll come down to your offense. It'll come into your hands. But I think Jarrell Casey gets his redemption and stops Ryan Tannehill in his tracks. So Jarrell Casey has a game. And I think the Broncos start out 1-0. Anna, you're going to contradict that one. What do you think?
So what I did, when you guys were going through like different things you're going to be watching, I didn't even realize how many things I had in my mind that I wanted to watch in this game. It's just going to be fun. There's history between these two teams. The Jarrell Casey thing, I feel like I definitely has a chip on his shoulder because the organization kind of did him dirty. Like, Titans fans were devastated. I am still upset. I miss him and I just want him back. So take care of him, please. And I was looking forward to seeing him with Von Miller. So it's unfortunate that that's not going to happen for the foreseeable future. But I think that the Titans offense is going to go off because you guys are a little disabled right now on the defensive side of the ball. So I have it. Yeah, I have it. And because I think that we have one of the most talented defenses in the country. I don't think you're going to score a lot because I don't know how I feel about Drew Lock. But we haven't matched up against him, so I don't know. I'm like trying to justify this because I'm in enemy territory right now, and I'm about to say something rude. So I think it's going to be 28 or 31 to 13 or 17. I don't see the Titans allowing more than 2 touchdowns. Yeah, and I just don't. I really think it's probably be 13. 28-13.
I mean, if you kick our butts, at least don't do it like that, man. That hurts.
Yeah, sorry.
That hurts. All right.
I'm partial, I know.
I'm switching it up. Byron, you got a score for me, man?
Man, unfortunately, I could see that happening, Anna. The thing about it is one of the easiest things to do is to install a running game. And with this offseason being the way it's been an unprecedented offseason where teams have not been getting together, even doing Zoom meetings and so with the limited amount of time that teams have had to prepare, one of the best things or easiest things you could do is install a running game. Well, the Tennessee Titans already have the best running game in the NFL, so that's to me, that's like where they live. That's their bread and butter. So, but we talked about our injuries on defense. One of the things that I think, one of the things that I really believe is that that we'll definitely struggle on defense, but we'll score some points too. We've definitely upgraded our weapons with Melvin Gordon. With we talked about Jerry Jeudy. You know how I love the tight ends, Keegan. And so we'll score some points, but I just don't think it'll be enough. So I would say 24-17 Tennessee.
Oh, the pain.
Sorry.
Love it.
Sorry.
Here for it.
And you know what? When we did our predictions, our preseason predictions, I picked this game that the Broncos would win it, but that was when I thought, we'd come into this game healthy. We'd have all our weapons there. And, we're hurting on defense, man, against that beast of Derrick Henry, the way he runs that football, man. It's hard to see.
Yeah, I'll say even with, my big question mark, I think everybody's big question mark is Ryan Tannehill. Can he reproduce what he did last year? Mm-hmm. And I think the reason that you could run that offense with a mediocre, and I think he's a very average quarterback. And I think most people would say that the only reason that they could run that is because they had the option and Derrick Henry was just running the ball down people's throats. So even if Ryan Tannehill has the most mediocre game in the world, I think Derrick Henry's going to light it up.
And look,
I concur, Anna. I'm sorry. I concur.
I'm going to say this. You guys, I'm going to say this. Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, Taylor Lewan, they all got the Brinks truck this offseason. So we'll see how that pays off. But last but certainly not least, the social media manager is yet to give his score. Don't think I forgot, Noah. What are you going after, man? What's the prediction? Don't hurt me. Don't hurt me.
Man, this is a tough one to pick. I mean, I think what we saw on Thursday is really indicative of what we're going to see on Sunday and then eventually on Monday. I think you saw a team in the Chiefs who had continuity in the offseason. They brought back pretty much all 11 starters and added an excellent running back. Same system. And then I think you saw the Texans with a new system, if I'm not mistaken, new receiving, and they really struggled. It looked like a preseason game. Denver's in the same boat. It's scary to pick. I am going to pick Denver to win this game. They have an incredible history of just knocking it out of the park in the opening game in Mile High. I'm going to go 17-14 Denver. I think it's close.
Hey, and even though we don't have the crowd on this one, we've got the altitude. So there you go. We've got a little bit playing in our favor.
I think you guys are 49-6 in the first 2 weeks at home. Since 70 or so. It's insane. Mm-hmm. So that's, intimidating, but 49-7. Talk to you guys on Tuesday morning.
Well, with that being said, this was
I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'll be pleasantly I'd be happy if I'm wrong.
I want us to all wake up on Tuesday and everything all right. And I'm sure Anna is feeling the same way. And I'm hoping Byron is wrong. I'm sorry, Byron. I hope
I'd be good with being wrong.
I think everybody would. All right. Well, make sure that you follow everybody on this screen. I got Anna over to – I'm so directionally challenged when it comes to Zoom. Over here, you follow her at Anna_Lewis35 and check her on Titans Brawl. Check the entire gang on Titans Brawl. And then down below over here, you follow Noah Smith at NoahSmith735. And right below me, you follow Byron at BC_Chamberlain on Instagram and Twitter. And then myself at Keegan Hartman 1. With that being said, guys, we are one sleep away from actual football. It may not be our teams, but it's football. And so there you have it. That's it. But yeah, check back in with us next week. Broncos country. I hope. We'll have to see. Thank you for tuning in for the special edition of Broncos and Titans Brawl. I'm Keegan Hartman. Have a good evening. All right. Thank you.